What is up, guys? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. If you're new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe and maybe that notification bell too, and maybe even joining the channel if you want to support, but that is totally up to you, no pressure at all. And a huge thank you to the current members of our channel. You are truly appreciated. And with that being said, let's get into today's stories. Much love, guys. Our first story comes from Friend Bad Suggestion. Am I the arsehole for calling my friend a piece of shit for suggesting I upgrade my wife? So when my wife and I got married, I was probably 40 pounds overweight. I gained weight for a couple of years until I finally got sick of being a fat ass and started exercising and dieting. Since then I've lost 50 pounds and I'd say I'm within a healthy weight range now. When I first married my wife, I would say looks wise she was out of my league. I think she's very pretty and I was definitely not good looking. I'd say we're now more equal as physical attractiveness goes, not to be a brag. Anyway, I was talking to a friend about how I'd finally lost weight and it felt good. He congratulated me, then said that I should upgrade my wife. I figured it was a joke and chuckled a little, but he kept going with it. Said that we've only been married a few years, 4, not nothing, and that I shouldn't have spent the rest of my life with someone ugly that I married because I was fat. I said yes, I do in fact want to spend the rest of my life with someone that I married. That tends to be how it works, and that I'm not a piece of shit, so I'm not going to upgrade my wife. He got a divorce a few years ago and talked a bit about how good it felt to be out there again, but never really said it was because he thought she was ugly. He got pissed and said that he divorced his wife for looks and he isn't a piece of shit, at which point I said that I disagreed and he hung up. He messaged me later that we exchanged some harsh words and should just move past it, but then followed it up with he wants an apology. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with him, but a mutual friend also messaged me that calling him a piece of shit wasn't cool. I don't know, I'm pissed off right now, so it's hard to tell if I went too far. Am I the arsehole? Top comment on this one was, not the arsehole, I would recommend you upgrade your friend. And that is so true. You don't talk about someone's wife like that. How disgusting is that? Anyway guys, now it's your turn. Don't forget to vote in that top right hand corner and leave a comment below on who you think was the arsehole in the situation. Our next story comes from Turbulent Comb. Am I the arsehole for getting my sister the HPV vaccine and birth control against our parents' wishes? My 25 male parents are very religious Christians. They're pretty okay usually, but are crazy about no premarital sex, etc. And in their minds this also means that you don't need things like the HPV vaccine or birth control until you're married, or because they pushed you to have sex. Very flawed logic, I understand that. They aren't against any other vaccinations however. HPV is the only one they've refused to let us get. When my sister was 15, she had been getting really bad period cramps and such. She missed school regularly because of it, and the doctors recommended getting her on birth control to help with it. It was an immediate no from my parents. They're willing to try anything other than that. In the end, decided to just exclusively pray for her recovery. So sister couldn't get on birth control and suffered every month because parents refused to get down from their religious high horse. After the first few initial attempts at convincing, I didn't try to get them to understand why little sister needed birth control and just started sending her money in secret to get it. She's 18 now and doing much better. They thought their prayers were answered when sister started getting better. Parents were left in the dark for 3 years until recently. Recently, I went to get vaccinated for HPV. I didn't know that men could also benefit from this vaccination. I decided to take my sister along since I know for a fact she didn't get this done when the doctors recommended it. We got it and things were fine until my parents figured out I took my sister to the hospital and pressed her to find out why. She came clean about everything. Parents were furious, started saying I was undermining their parenting and that God would have listened to their prayers eventually and I'm just a horrible person overall. Sister ended up moving in with me. My sister feels a bit guilty too, and I said that maybe we should have gotten our pastor to speak with them if they wouldn't listen to the doctors before we went behind their backs. Women's cramps are no joke. A co-worker of mine suffers every month from bad cramps, and you know when she's suffering she has to go home straight away. As soon as that comes on, she has to go home. You can see it in her face. You don't fuck with this woman. Whew, no way. So I can't imagine the pain she is going through at that point. And for a brother to alleviate those symptoms to help her out, because obviously the prayers aren't working. So for the brother to actually help her out, she's very lucky to have a brother like that, clearly. And obviously she's much better off for it. So in this situation, I'm going to have to say not the arsehole. But what do you guys think on the situation? Let me know in the comments below and don't forget to vote in that top right hand corner. Our next story is from Temporary Reality 8. Am I the arsehole for not splitting my inheritance with my estranged sister? So this is obviously a long story spanning our entire lives, but I will try to condense it as best as I can. Players are me, 30 female, my sister 34 female, husband 39 male, niece 5 female, and dad 80 male. My older sister had trouble with drugs, alcohol, and the law our entire life. She's been Baker acted no less than 20 times since her 18th birthday and has actually technically died twice due to her decisions. She's backed by the grace of the medical professionals treating her. My dad has constantly bailed out on anything, whether it be jail or missing rent payments, because she spent the money on drugs. My dad had cancer for the last decade. Despite my sister and him already living in the same apartment complex and my dad paying the entirety of her rent, my husband and I were essentially forced to move across our city 3 months before our wedding because dad was starting chemo and needed extra help. My next 3 years were devoted to caring for dad. I lost 2 jobs due to the time I needed to take off to care for him, and my sister continued to mooch and do absolutely nothing for him. I was the one expected to make the medical decisions for him alone because he didn't trust my sister not to try off him for his money. Dad is now finally at peace, and against my better judgment, I asked my sister to come by so she could say her goodbyes. Before they even came to take him from his apartment to the funeral home, she was demanding that I open and read the will. She insisted that dad had been paying for her to try to finally earn her bachelor's and she needed 2k. This amount changed to 3k within 24 hours. She started pointing at dad's belongings and said that she was claiming items she wanted. After I finally read the will, I'm the executor of the estate, we learned that dad left everything to me, except for creating a trust fund for my niece and that my sister can't touch until her 21st. My sister lost her mind and started demanding that I split what I got from him. Dad also left specific instructions to me and my husband to use what he had left to buy us a house, pay off our debts and finally start a family, and we really want to honour his last wishes, but we wouldn't be able to if we split with my sister. Obviously emotions are high and none of us are thinking right. But am I the arsehole for respecting dad's wishes and making sure that we use what he has left for what he wanted it to be used for? I know the sister is in a fucking dark place, but you can't tolerate that behaviour. I'd say not the arsehole at all, and she deserves fucking nothing. The way that she turned up at your dad's place, pointing at things she wanted and demanding money immediately, even though the body hasn't left yet, and she's demanding money. What the fuck, man? What kind of attitude is that? And you got to feel sorry for the niece in this situation, a 5-year-old girl, man, having to grow up with that. She needs to be got out of there, surely. That's not a good place to be growing up in. And she will only manipulate that money off her when she gets older. I hope OP rescues that niece somehow. But anyway, what do you guys think about this situation? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote in that top right hand corner. Our next story is from Illustrious Vulgarian. Am I the arsehole for not backing out of a gas pump slot where someone has pulled in front of me? So I went to the gas station and pulled into a store to pump gas on the driver's side. As I'm finishing, another person pulls up in front of my car, directly facing me because their door is on the passenger side. So now our cars are facing each other head on. As I put the pump back into its slot and was preparing to leave, I got her attention and tried to motion for her to back up so that I could depart. She seemed to motion back to me, requesting that I back up so that she could pull forward into the spot. I get in my car and think maybe I can pull around her, but I cannot due to the narrowness of the space between the pumps. So now my only option is to either back up and leave, or sit there and wait for her to leave. I opt for the latter, and sit there in my car refusing to back up for close to 20 minutes because I have no immediate obligations and think I can just outwait her. She proceeds to get more and more upset. She honks at me and I honk back whenever she does in retaliation. Eventually, she gets the attention of a nearby parking lot security guy. This is at a local supermarket. The security guard approaches her first and speaks to her, then comes over to me and tells me to leave because she needs to pump gas. I tell him I'll leave as soon as she moves so I can pull forward. I also mention there are now other pumps which she could relocate to. He tells me he's going to call the police if I don't back up, and then goes to speak with the other driver. I call my immediate family to say that I may soon be arrested and to not worry if I don't show up later. When I'm on the call, the other driver backs up, so I immediately turn on my car and drive away as she angrily flips me off in rage. I don't look back to see whether she pulls into the spot I left or another vacant spot. The incident is now resolved without violence, but likely with hurt feelings and confusion. Is this a US thing? In the UK, there's sort of like, you go in one way, you go out the other. There's sort of arrows directing you into these bays. Isn't that not the same in the US? Is it just you're going in and out willy-nilly? What the hell's going on there? It'd be a simple solution to just put some arrows down, surely. But I've got to say, the guy's an arsehole in this situation. He was clearly just doing this for the sake of it, just to cause trouble. What do you guys think about this situation? You guys, if you're in the US and this is the case, you're all just driving in and out all over the place. This must come up all the time. You guys will have to let me know. And don't forget to vote in that top right hand corner. Our next story is from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for not letting my daughter, 16, watch anime anymore? Hi Reddit, a few days ago I had to put my foot down and stop my daughter from watching anime. This needs some context. I don't want people to think I have an issue with the medium or Japanese culture. So my daughter, Marianne, has been pretty obsessed with anime since she was 12. At first I didn't see a big issue. I was scared about the social ramifications because my older son, Silvio, 19, used to tell us about kids in school that made fun of people called weebs. I was scared Marianne would become one of these people, but I held my tongue because my wife was of the opinion that children will do what children do. My first problems with her anime started when during our dinner she would start by what she called thanking for the food in Japanese. Silvio said he saw her do it in school once, which scared me. This was weird, but wasn't the end of the world, but not long after she started wanting to get into what she is saying is cosplaying, where a person's dressed as a character from anime, I guess. She showed me prices for whatever it is she needed to buy, and it was absurdly high. She eventually got her own job with her brother at a local country club, so she got to buy her own stuff, which was fine until she finally finished her costume last week. What I mean is the costume was finished and she was happy, and I was going to try and bond with her, so I asked her questions about who she's meant to be. This was a mistake because she described to me that her character was from a show with so much goddamn incest, it was like it was no big deal. I was mortified. I knew she watched some weird stuff, but incest was taking it way too far. I mean, she has a brother, like what the fuck? I told her that from now on she's forbidden from watching those shows, and she flipped out calling me an arsehole. My wife was mostly weirded out, but compared to how much porn nowadays relies so much on incest, while my son just said he knew she watched things like that and found it creepy. It's been a few days since, and she's still really upset. So Reddit, am I the arsehole? I found a comment which sums up my thoughts on this one pretty well. I didn't quite know how to explain it. I'm not a massive anime guy, but after reading this comment I thought, yeah, that's sort of what I'd like to say. So this comes from Lefkoz. You're the arsehole. Yeah, Japan has a weird cultural relationship with incest in their media. Not worse than American smut, just different. It's a good reason to monitor her media consumption. But honestly, don't shut access to anime entirely. She's just going to resent you. I promise she's not fantasizing about incest, in the same way that most Americans aren't fantasizing about going on a violent rampage or getting into shootouts. And what do you guys think of that? I don't know too much about anime, so you're gonna have to hold my hand and lead the way here, because I don't watch that kind of stuff. It's just not my thing. Respect to anyone who does watch it. Fair play to you. But let us know by voting that top right hand corner, and don't forget to leave a comment below. Anyway guys, I'd just like to thank you for the time out of your day for being here. It's truly appreciated as always, and thank you for the support just recently. It's been absolutely amazing. If you do enjoy this content, there's a video on your screen right now. Don't forget to click it, watch it, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you in the next one. Much love guys.